Hi everyone, welcome back to our series on building a social media feed app with Redux and Tailwind CSS. This is part 6 and today we are going to dive into a crucial feature, that is persisting state with local storage. In previous parts, we set up Redux to handle complex state management in our app. But here is the big question. What happens when a user refreshes the page or closes the browser? We definitely don't want them to lose all their data, right? That's where local storage comes in. Before diving into actual topic, let me show you a simple example how exactly this affects user. Let me add a see, if you see here, right now we have 2 post data. So let me add a third post title, select author, third post content. Let me save this. See, now we got the third post. Let's see if I refresh what happens. Let's see, we are now seeing 3 post data. Okay, let me refresh the application. See here, we lost the post which we added just now. This is because whenever we refresh our application or close the browser, the application will automatically reload and then it will load the initial state, that is this, only containing 2 post data. Okay, only containing 2 post data here. If you see here, it has only 2 posts. So always it loads this dummy data and then renders on your UI. So to avoid this loss of data, we are going to implement or save our state into local storage and then retrieve from the local storage. Okay, so in this video we are going to walk through the process of saving our app state to local storage and then reloading it whenever the app is reopened. This will ensure our users have a seamless experience with their data preserved across sessions. Okay, first let me start with setting up local storage integration. So first let's talk about how we are going to connect Redux with local storage. The idea here is to listen for changes in our Redux store and automatically save the changes to local storage. Then when the app starts, we will load the saved state and restore the user's data. Okay, we will begin by creating 2 iterative functions, one for saving the state to local storage and another for loading it. Let's get into the code. Okay, let's get into the code. Here let me add export save state. What exactly we are going to do is, here we are going to save the post data to local storage. Okay, for that let me get the post from Redux store, use selector for which we'll pass state as a variable, that is entire Redux store as a variable parameter. Then from the state retrieve post data. Okay, and then once we retrieve it, we will be using another hook, that is use effect, to perform side operations whenever there is a change in the post data. Okay, use effect, which will take one callback function and then dependencies. Okay, and then dependencies here, array of dependencies. So inside use effect, what we're going to do is, let me add try catch block. Inside try first const post data. So we'll convert or we serialize the post data and then store it into local storage as a string. For that, what we are going to do is json.stringify and then pass the post state data. Okay, this will serialize the post data and then save it into local storage as a string. Next thing is, once we are done with that, we converted the JavaScript object into a string format. Now let me store them into local storage. For that, set item, for which we should pass two things. One is key is post here. This can be anything. You can keep any key for this. I'm keeping it as a post, and then value here is post data. Okay, now this will store our state into local storage. If something goes wrong, we will be catching the exception and then log into console. Okay, console.log could not save the state to local storage, and then print the exception. Okay, this is to store the post data into local storage, and then we want this use effect to run whenever there is a change to post data. That is, whenever there is a change in the post state, we are going to run this use effect and then save the state into local storage. Okay, this is about to save. Okay, what happened to this? Oh, okay, let me, we should use a custom hook, otherwise we can't use selector. So let me add use or prefix the function with use, so that this is a kind of a custom hook. Okay, this is a kind of a custom hook. Okay, custom hook we defined here, use save state, and then next thing is we should define a function to load the state. Okay, for that let me add load state. Okay, load state. Here what exactly we want to do is we should retrieve the data from the local storage and then keep it in the state. Okay, for that what we're going to do is post data equal to local storage dot get item. Here we should pass the key. Key here is what we used is in previous function, that is a post. So this key and then whatever the key you used while saving the data should be same, otherwise you get error. Okay, now we got the data from local storage. Now we should convert this, since we are saving the state into local storage as a string. Now we should convert from string to JSON format. So for that what I'm going to do is return JSON.parse. Okay, before that we should add a condition whether this post data should not be empty to parse it. Okay, we should check that condition, and then here parse into this parse post data or else undefined. Okay, next thing is, let me add a catch here. Console.log, if something happens, so if some error occurs, then we should log the error message inside console. Could not load state from local storage, and then print the exception. Okay, return undefined. sorry, written undefined. Okay, this is about loading the data. Okay, let me format it a little bit. Control save. Yeah, so now we are done with adding two functions. That is, one is use save state, that is a custom hook, and then load state. So the use save state function serializes our Redux state and stores it as a string in local storage. The load state function does the reverse. It retrieves the serialized state from local storage and pass it back to an object. Okay, now we are done with adding two utility functions to save and then retrieve the state from local storage. Next is we will modify our Redux store setup to utilize these functions. Okay, when creating the store, we will use the load state. That is, here if you see here, we are actually assigned dummy data to our initial state. Instead of that, what we're going to do is, if at all there is any data inside local storage, we should load that. Otherwise, we should go with this dummy data. Okay, for that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use load state function to pre-populate it with any saved data. Okay, load state. Okay, what exactly this do is, if at all there is data inside local storage, this load state will pre-populate the data. If there is no data, we simply go with this dummy data. Okay, now let me save this. And then the next step is to ensure the state is saved. Whenever there is a change, we will call the use save state hook, which the custom hook which we created from the app.jsx component. Okay, this will keep our local storage in sync with the current state. From here, we should call use save state. Okay, this ensures the state is saved whenever there is a change, and also this will keep our local storage in sync with the current state. Okay, this is, now we are done with integrating our Redux store with the local storage. So whenever we are loading the state, we are using the initial state, it will first try to load or pre-populate the data from local storage if there is data. Otherwise, it will use dummy data. Okay, now let me show you the whether the functionality whatever we added will work or not. Before that, let me do one thing. Let me open dev tools, and then whenever we use local storage, this is going to store into your local storage available in the browser, so which you can access by going to the developer tools in application tab. Inside application tab, you see here there is a local storage. Click on this. Let me remove all the existing local storage. Let me remove. Okay, now we are done with removing it. So now let me add a new function, and then I'll show you whether the state whatever the data we are adding to the Redux store is getting stored into the local storage or not. Let me go here and then add third post title, select any author, third post content. Let me save. Click on save. See here, there is an entry in the local storage and the key is post and the data is here. If you see the data, we have all the data. There is 3 post data. If you see here, we have 3 entries for post. One is, okay, what happened? Let me refresh. First post, second post, third post. Okay, these actually retrieved from the okay. Why it stored? These are all, I mean, I added, before this video. Okay, let me remove from here. Remove and then refresh. Now we have only 2. Okay, let me add third post. David, third post, content, save it and then see third post. Okay, now proper. It showed wrong data because of the delete operation not successful. After delete I haven't refreshed portal, so it retrieved the old data as well. So now if you see here, we saved our post data into local storage. Now let me do one thing. Let me refresh and then see whether that data persists or not. Now if you can see here, we have a 3 entries for post data. Okay, let me refresh. See here, even after refresh, our data or our post which we added recently is available here. Let me add some reactions here and then go to view post and add here some reactions and then update some data here and then save, update and then save. Go to post. See here, now we are able to see reactions and then we even updated our second post. Okay, now let me refresh and then see whether the data persists or not. Let me refresh. See here, the data still persists. Why? Because we are actually loading the data from the local storage whenever we are going to display the post data on main feed page. Okay, in the similar way, let me close this and then launch application again. If I go here, localhost, click on here. See, now also we are able to see 3 entries for post data. Okay, with this we are done with adding a feature or preserving our state into local storage. Okay, now that we have everything in place, okay, as you can see, our data is preserved across sessions, providing a much smoother and more robust user experience. Okay, now the app feels more reliable and user friendly. Along with this, I would like to add an important condition. That is, see, if you go to add new post here, I would like to add this condition as well. That is to save our post data only when title, user ID and content is available. Otherwise, we should disable the button and user can't save. Okay, let me show you that. I have added the condition as well here. If you see here we added, right? Let me show you that whether we can save the data without having any one of the fields. Okay, fourth post. I'm not selecting any author, and then content. If you see here, we can't save the post because our author field is empty. But if I select author field, we can save. Okay, in the similar way, I have added the similar logic. If you go here in the update post as well, here as well, if I remove this, right, if I remove this, you can't save, user can't save. Only when the data is available, then only we can save. Okay, this is the extra logic I want to add so that we can make user to enter the required field values. Okay, and that's it for part 6. We have successfully added state persistence to our social media feed app using Redux and local storage